Alright, so we're working on the Camp Robber by Lasercutplanes here. I've got the fuselage assembled. This builds out real quick. Very light balsa on this, and you've got a long hook to peg distance. So this airplane is designed to fly on fairly light rubber, or fairly thin rubber. Sorry. So we took a different approach with the senior flyer. We have a larger balsa prop, short motor stick, probably only about half the length of this, and it's beefier, so it doesn't bend under load. So you can fly on up to 1/8 inch rubber. It's a design philosophy thing. With the supplied propeller, you're good to go. If you try going up to a larger prop to get a little more propeller efficiency, you're going to run into some issues. So if you were doing that, I would simply take the rear hook, move it up forward. Just my take on it. Flying surfaces, let's look down here. So the way that you build the flying surfaces, and I must have some wet glue when I stacked these up on each other last night, because they stuck together. Alright, so you build the wing in halves, and it has these little tabs that stick out, and then you snip them afterwards. Everything locks in real well, so what you do is you build, you'll lay a spar down, and you insert these ribs in here, without the other spar present, so you're building it upside down, and they have flaps here and here, so the ribs are reversible. And so you glue them all in. They lock in, they fit pretty tight, which is a two-edged sword. It does mean they stay put, so it's fairly easy to get them all aligned without them drooping or anything. The problem is, since they fit tight, it's easy to squish this balsa, break it off, and whatnot. So you got to kind of watch that aspect of it. But I mean, you can build out your wing and your tail in about 5-10 minutes at most. So I've got probably 10 minutes invested so far. I mean, it's a very quick build, and I spent a lot of that actually just looking at the instructions. So what we're going to do next, we went ahead and popped our flying surfaces out. I'm going to spray all of the flying surfaces with 3M77, and then I'll cover the tips and the rudders with the supplied tissue paper per the instructions, and somewhere in here. And we've got our veggie bag that I'm going to open up, and I'll probably come back in here and show you my take on covering with veggie bag plastic if I can ever get it to cooperate with me here, because it's not wanting to come open. There we go. So this is an extra large veggie bag. I mean, that one's real nice and big around. Maybe. It's also sticking to itself. So one thing you can do there is what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the bottom out of this bag at some point. My wife has handed me scissors from her build that's going on. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip this, and then I'm going to find the seam in here. There is a seam usually on these, although this one is apparently seamless. So at that point, just find some place where you feel like snipping it. So this is fairly light covering material. Much lighter than tissue, I can tell you that much. There we go. So at this point, now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the veggie bag and I'm going to wad it up. So what in the world are you doing? I'm doing the same thing I do with all of my indoor airplanes. I'm going to crinkle the film, and when you crinkle the film, it doesn't stick to itself anymore because you're statically charging it. You're also making it a little stretchy and stuff, and it just behaves that much better. And I've got Caleb playing noises in the background with a piece of clay. Alright, so now we've got a static charge on the film so that it sticks to the table instead of everything else. Now, the instructions don't really talk about putting this on a covering frame, so as I'm trying to build to the instructions kind of, That's kind of the concept of a review here. I am going to, maybe, there we go. I'm just going to cover it per the instructions, and we'll see if we can get a nice tight covering job this way. There we go. So I'm going to go spray everything down with 3M77, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so time to watch and find out if my covering skills are able to cooperate with this. So, looking good so far. Press back a little. There we go. And I don't know that it's the greatest covering job, but it's not terrible. So we're going to do the same thing with the horizontal stab here. And looks like a decent covering job. So I'll just show you the basics here of maybe. Basically, you're just going to go around here with the sharpest razor blade you can get, and then a brand new one, and trim that covering loose. I will mention this is not my first time covering with this material. Covered a couple of outdoor planes with it. The most recent one was a 30-inch small multi-hill. I had some issues with the covering, but it definitely was light enough to get me the performance I was after, because that airplane did in excess of 4 minutes outdoors. Alright, so there's the wing cut out. You notice the left wing is longer than the right wing, which is what you kind of want. And it's a decent covering job, not spectacular, but it's decent. Covering with a frame would get you a little bit better because the tensioning is not equal across all of it, and that's why you use covering frames when you can. Alright, so we've got wing and stab cut out. The tissue for the tips is under here, and this appears to be, yeah, it is. It's a nice Japanese tissue. I probably mentioned that before, but I'll mention it again because Japanese tissue, nice stuff. I like it. So I just sprayed these with 3M77 as well. And there we go. And same stuff applies as far as how to cut this loose. You can use a razor blade, scissors, what have you, you know, all that jazz. And I may have to resort to scissors because I'm getting clumsy here. Probably because it's getting close to lunchtime. Reminds me of a build video, I don't remember which one it was, but I had a build video some years ago where I looked like I was going into withdrawal or something because my hands started getting shaky because my blood sugar started plummeting. That one was pretty entertaining. y'all can figure out, I don't know which one it was, but it was a video where I started sipping Mountain Dew during the video.
Was it Mountain Dew?
Yes, it was Mountain Dew. It definitely improved my building skills all of a sudden, and not because of the caffeine. I believe the moral to this story is do not get your nutrition advice from me, because I'm the worst person ever for that. And don't give me nutrition advice, it'll fall on deaf ears because I'm not disciplined enough to do that. I don't know why I'm making y'all watch me cut out flying surfaces like this, but it's fun to make y'all go through this because, I don't know, something or another. And it's fun to yammer on about how I'm having so much trouble because my blood sugar's low. Alright, so got all those cut out. Remember we have a left wing and a right wing, so tissue goes on the outside. From an aerodynamic perspective, I think the tissue actually should go on the inside. But that is a debate for a different day. And left wing again. I do notice, I don't know if you can tell, there is a little bit of a mismatch between the curvature of the rib and the wingtip. No biggie, it can still fit on fine, but just something to take note of. I didn't even make an attempt to get it right on ours this year. We just had them flat across the bottom and you figure it out. My wife is making snarky remarks about me over here. What was it that you have to share with the class?
Much better cutting this tissue.
Oh, so we're bragging about tissue cutting skills? My word.
With a razor blade.
If you don't stop, I'm going to bring your Flying Aces moth out here and I'm going to show it to the camera.
Hey, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so you've got these two wing sliding rig thingy here. And if I can pop them out. These are pretty cool. These are plywood. This is probably the niftiest wing mount strategy I've seen. I don't know that the necessarily, because of the small number of layers, because I think this is only 3-layer plywood, so technically the grain's going the wrong direction. However, these are strong enough, it's probably not an issue. If I can get this one to come out of here, because it is being super unreliable. Now there's a front and a back, and so the back one is shorter and skinnier. So anyway, the way it works is it just drops in here like this. Since there's a little bit of curvature of that, so the kerf is kind of diagonally like that from the laser cutting. That's what happens with these short focal length Chinese lasers that we're all running now. I have the same problem. So anyway, and let me make sure that I have this wing something other. Okay, good. Wait a minute. I have the wrong wings here. Alright, so I've got to cut the tip plates and put them back, because I thought sure I had the left wing and the right wing figured out. Maybe I should just fly it around with backwards tip plates. No comments from the peanut gallery. And I thought, yeah, this is where, see, so the problem with this is, the wings are marked on those little tabs that you cut off. And so that means that after you've cut them off, which you have to do before you cover and assemble the wing, now you don't know which is which. So
I suggest you mark it on the plane.
it's just a fail. It's a fail. Anyway, at least the glue is still mostly wet on that. So, bottom line is, before you cut those tabs off, mark which one's the left wing and which one's the right wing, so you can, get it right. Because, make sure. So that's the short wing, that's the long wing, there we go, so this is the left wing. And where'd my razor blade go? There we go. So this plane builds really fast if you pay attention. If you don't, it doesn't build very fast. I'm just going to make a wild guess.
Pee-wee's telling you that you're wrong too.
Typical of Pee-wee. Pee-wee always thinks I'm wrong. Anyway, I am guessing I'm not the only person to make this mistake with this plane. So, that would be a piece of advice to the good folks at Lasercut to slightly revise that on the next models. Like, maybe engrave the left and right so that they're not on a part of the plane that you cut off. That's my opinion on the matter. I know I'm free to be wrong. Alright, so then you have this little sliding rig thing that you slip into here, which that's a pretty nifty little setup. It's not really a front and a back to it. It is not really marked for... there we go. So it's not critical that you get these straight up and down, but it would be kind of nice if this was set up to ensure that you could have some reference marks. For those of us who are OCD people and stuff. And so, slides back and forth. You do want to fasten this down. There are a variety of ways to do it. I think the kit rubber is a little bit thick for doing that. Another alternative is to tape it. I'm going to take it out. Well, actually no. I need to leave it because I need a reference so I can put my stab tilt on. There's no left and right, front and back on the stab. It's the same front ways, back ways. Should mention that there is a little bit of a bevel on the back of the motor stick here where the tail boom attaches, so you get just a little bit of up elevator. And I've got some stab tilt in there. And then you can glue this rudder straight up and down, glue it on the side, whatever floats your boat. the side, or sorry, on the top, and I'm going to do so with just a wee little bit of left rudder offset. There we go. And currently CGing back here, which is about what is recommended. I'll take some of the rubber here. Hopefully I can find where those O-rings were hiding. I hope I didn't lose them. You may have. But here we go. This is the rubber for this one. It's thinner. That's mountain lion rubber. And now I also mentioned, I forgot something on this airplane, which is there are rubber bands included. That's the correct way to attach the wing. So those of you who know that can stop yelling at the camera right now, or the computer screen or whatever. Just like little orthodontic bands. Fit a little bit on the loose side. Now, there are only 2 O-rings included. I wish there were more because I really think this airplane needs more than just 2 O-rings, because the first time you blow a motor you're gonna lose those. Now I'm going to just cut a moderate loop here, nothing special. I do want to mention that these O-rings are awesome, and I want some. I want like 10,000 of them. I'm going to go off camera and lubricate the motor with some silicone oil, and then we'll be back and we'll make it go. Okay, I have not checked the weight on this. I'm assuming it's underweight. I am seeing a fair amount of motor stick flex, so that may be an issue in a minute. But it does fly in nice tidy left circles and bump. Alright, let's try that one more time. Let's see if we can make it complete here. Nope, because I can't do plane things. Because I are a moron. Let me try that one more time.
Oh
no! Yeah, Caleb's not happy with me either. Oh well. Alright. There we go. And there's always something to catch a plane, and I broke the tail off. Good job. Alright. Anyway, it flies off the board. That's good. I don't know the weight of it, so I'm going to have to do that, reattach the tail, and then we'll be back. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to weigh this airplane, see what it comes out to. Now that I've fixed it. I should mention you do want to check to make sure you've got just a tiny bit of wash-in this left wing. If you notice, you're seeing the right panel's flat, and you're seeing this one's got a little bit of wash-in. Sit steady so you're not silly airplane. Alright, so our weight is 7.68. I think that's probably fairly reasonable to what you're going to see on these across the board. The main source of weight is the propeller. I did not go particularly light in my building. I mean, frankly, I used a lot of glue. So that brings us to 8.1, maybe a little much. Eight 8.08. 8.047. And 7.96. Okay, that was overkill. And 8. 7.99. Oh, come now. Really? Eight point 018. Is it going to stay there? Alright, that's close enough. Alright, so I'm just going to glue the clay back here kind of close to the CG. I think the plane's balanced about where it needs to be. Alright. So. Alright, so we'll take this airplane out and we'll fly it outside when it calms down this evening and kind of do a little bit of that. I'm not going to have a chance for a while to fly this indoors. I may have a few minutes next week, but no guarantees because I'm going to be coaching some Science Olympiad students on gliders. So it's possible I'll get a chance to fly this for a few minutes, but I don't know. Things I can tell you, nice airplane, flies well. I'm still a little concerned about how flexy this motor stick is. There are stiffeners included that you can glue to the sides to prevent side-to-side bending, but my concern continues to be that you're going to lose incidence as you wind this up, and you've got to be willing to wind these airplanes pretty hard to really get maximum performance. So that's just my personal opinion on the matter. Now, the difficulty here is this airplane uses very light wood throughout. It's very good quality wood, and yet it's close to the maximum weight, or close to the minimum weight. I mean, that's not a very big clod of clay about it. So where's all the weight coming from? It's coming from right here. So you really need to, if you're looking, if you beef up that motor stick, this propeller is no longer a particularly good option. So you're going to need to look at an Icara prop, which will give you some advantage because it's going to be significantly lighter than this. So you can put more wood in the motor stick, and then you've got a more efficient propeller as well. It can take a little more power. At the same time, I will slide that rear hook forward to probably about where the motor stick joint is here. That'd give you a pretty nice setup. From an aerodynamic perspective, the wings, building them inverted, I have a lot of concerns about the reliability of getting a warp-free wing doing that. I've been building for a long time, and even I was having a little bit of trouble with that. There are jigs that you can use to mitigate some of that. Now, flip side of it, it's a pain in the neck to build it that way, but from an aerodynamic perspective, having those leading edges aligned like that with the curvature of the airfoil, that's a pretty sweet idea. Flip side of it, you could thin, if these were narrowed down so they weren't quite so beefy, because this airplane's very overbuilt in terms of the strength of the wings. I could take this outside in a breeze and I could fly it quite successfully. So the airplane's built pretty strong, stronger than it needs to be, so you could thin these down and then you could just build everything up flat. There may or may not be a J&H Aerospace product in the works that is based on that. So, just a thought. Anyway, see y'all. Hi, I'm Josh Finn. This is Hope. We are J&H Aerospace.
If you like this video, hit the like button.
Also, how about subscribe to our channel and check out jhaerospace.com for new free flight products and all of the tooling that you'll need to build them.
Thanks for watching.